So, and I'll do it only in English, I think, for us to be more precise, and then we can translate afterwards. What do you think? Or shall we? I don't know how much time.
I think let's keep it in English because I will also require more of explaining because I will be telling what I have understood from.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me put the question then, which we were discussing. So as I said, as we already talked on the phone, there are some questions about to clarify this page 35 and 36 of the neuroscience book, Taming the Brain, in regards to this paragraph. Only a little contemplation will convince you that your emotions are thoughts plus feelings. So if thoughts have to go through the neocortex and emotions not, because they will entail a quick motor response of fight or flight, and emotions are our negative emotional brain circuits. So what, and they are in the amygdala, which is the other self that Amit discovered. So what thoughts can these be if they need to pass through the neocortex, which them meaning, and at the same time they are part, or they are an integral part of the emotions, because as emotions are thoughts plus feelings. And then
yes,
this is a little well, let's leave the feelings for the next question, because feelings in the body, and we can cognize with feelings. We don't need to cognize just with the brain. So all this is what we are going to talk
about. The emotions, any emotion does involve in this worldview the thought, no doubt about it. So we can say in one way that emotions are thoughts plus feelings, or in other sense we can also say that the mentization, or mentalization of feelings, they are emotions. So when we give meanings to feelings, they become emotions. So in two ways.
Wait a minute. When we give meaning to feelings, they become emotions. Isn't it the other way around?
No. Feelings are, in this view, we are saying that feelings are movements of liturgical fields that we experience, and they are the objects of vital world. So whenever we experience the movements of liturgical fields, in absence of a thought or a meaning, they are pure feelings. But as soon as the experience of feelings is mixed up with thoughts, and the thoughts or the meanings, they arise when there is a self in the brain involved, because for meanings or the objects of the mind to be actualized, we need neocortex. So I think these things, they have to be, first of all, put on the table very clear, that feelings are the movements of liturgical field which we experience at the level of various chakras. We won't say that the experience of the body, because when we experience the body, quote unquote, the physical body, then I am so clear and I understand it this way, that then it is an experience of sensation once again. So when we say feelings, we are explicitly making it clear here, at least I am so clear about it here right now, so that when we say feelings, we are talking about the experience of the objects of vital world. and they are the movements of liturgical field which we experience. And when there is an experience of meaning with these feelings, so those experiences, they become emotions in our understanding, to say. So these things I think we need to be clear about, and then we will talk about emotional brain circuits.
Okay, so I will repeat what I understood, okay? You say that we are talking in Amit's terms, we are always talking about pure feelings, which are the
Yes,
liturgical fields.
yes.
Ok, so I will translate this to sum up. Então, nos termos do Amit, a gente sempre está falando de sentimentos puros, que são o movimento dos campos litúrgicos. Ok, and then let's go further. And there is no brain cognition involved.
Yes, if we are experiencing pure feelings, and if we are cognizing just with feelings, which is quite rare these days, because most of our feelings, and mainly the survival related feelings which come from first three chakras,
the negative emotional brain circuit.
Yes, they are, taken up by the brain. And so an exclusive experience of pure feelings usually does not happen for most of us. So
Okay.
for most of us, we experience survival related feelings as survival related emotions, because it goes
so
through the brain.
Wait. We experience survival related feelings as survival related emotions, which are the negative emotions.
Most of the time, because the functioning of the initial three chakra are very much taken over evolutionarily for our survival reasons by the brain. So for us to have,
but without giving meaning yet, or giving meaning.
No, that I'm coming to that point.
Okay.
When we say negative emotional brain circuits, I have read in one of his books, maybe the neuroscience manuscript only or somewhere else, where it has been made clear that negative emotional brain circuits have associated universal meanings which happen some moments after the unconscious actions have already been initiated. So one aspect of the circuit is that it processes through amygdala, and it goes through the thalamus and then the amygdala, and then the responses are generated, and then those responses are unconscious in most of us. But as soon as they are generated, we will have universal meanings collapsed in the neocortex immediately following the actions.
I will sum up this part in Portuguese, okay? No, I will.
Yeah, please.
In English first.
But I hope you are getting clear about what I am saying, or if you have any doubts.
Yes, sure. So you're saying that we have this embedded software with the universal meanings, which are they come from, let's say, from they come with us. They are already there for survival purposes, and therefore this meaning is stored in the neocortex, so to say.
See, there is some, I would say, clarity which I would also require, because recently Dr. Goswami has started bringing the concept of self in the midbrain also. Right. So, and I have been listening to him talking about the memory at the level of midbrain. And so the universal memory is triggered from there. That is what I am assuming. I am not clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes,
but
can
for
be.
me, but for me, uh, as of now, I understand that we can have conscious experience in the brain only when we have activities in the neocortex.
Mm-hmm.
But we have also learned quite elaborately about the selves at the heart and the navel. So
Mm-hmm.
we are having experience of self at the navel and the heart, navel and the heart, where
Yes.
we don't have neocortex, but
Yes.
we have some neurons and the nerve bundles around that. So it is quite possible to develop the idea of self at the midbrain. And if it is
Sure.
the case, then we will have to assume that way that the memories are, triggered, those universal software, the memories are triggered, the universal meanings are triggered directly from the midbrain.
Okay.
But
Good.
I am not very clear about it. I will have to read more and have some more discussion with Dr. Goswami about it.
Yes, this is a question that we can ask him if the universal software's memories and meanings are stored in this midbrain self, right? So this is
Yes, yes,
what you are not so clear about. Okay, good. Yeah.
yes, yes.
And then okay. Okay, so feelings
Because
I understood.
Cecilia, then we will have to make an assumption here that somehow, like neocortex,
Mm,
the midbrain also has the capacity of representing the objects of minds. Because
mm-hmm,
up to this point, we have been saying that the neocortex is computer-like, and
mm-hmm,
the cells are quite specialized in neocortex, the pyramidal neurons there. And so we have, because before the onset of neocortex, initially we said that there was no mind, because
mm-hmm,
only all experiences were the
mm-hmm.
experiences of feelings, and the cognitions were all cognitions of
Instinctual.
feelings,
Yes, an
feelings like.
instinct. Instincts, right?
Uh, Instincts are again, they are like, uh, there is some difference when we say cognition with feelings and instinct, because uh, at heart, we can have experience of pure feelings of love, but
Mm.
then this is not an instinct. This is not an instinct.
Yeah.
So instinct is somehow different. Instinctual means it has again a kind of circuits and set of events occurring in a proper setup. So some stimulus happens, and the instincts, they arise, and I have an experience. But for
Mm-hmm.
me to have the experience of feelings in heart of unconditional love, this is not instinctual, but it is still cognizing with feelings.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Feelings in the chakras.
Feelings in the chakras. So
Not
some
not
feelings
feel
in the chakra.
no
Yeah.
neocortex involved.
Yes, no neocortex involved, then it would be pure feeling. It's an experience through the cells in the heart and navel.
Great. Yes, understood. And when we say that emotions are thoughts as well, thoughts plus feelings,
Yes.
so then we have the neocortex involved. And how
Yes, then
can
then we can, the simplest way, as I have understood, and it makes good sense to me, is that whenever we talk about emotions, there is brain involvement. So we are talking about the self in the brain.
Wait a minute.
Whenever we
So,
talk about emotions, we are talking about the self in the brain.
okay.
Because we need meanings, and meanings can be actualized at brain.
Meanings can be actualized in the brain. Yes, sure. Para. The dog. Meanings actualized in the brain. Uh, there, there is a cognitive psychologist who did an experiment with electrodes and stimulus. And that's also my confusion, because I sometimes get across these regular things, you know, and I want to see where they coincide with Amit's position. So, and he said that uh, that the stimulus first triggers the emotion and does not go through the neocortex. So my understanding had been so far until now, until my email to Amit and reading this and my discussions with Sida as well, that emotions are not I mean, the feelings like you know, feelings that you give a name, feelings that you say, oh, now I feel love, because you feel the heartthrob, but somehow your brain also will enter the picture and will say, oh, you felt this before with that guy, so now you're feeling it again, so this must be love, and so on. And so the feeling was also not so much connected to these liturgical fields, but rather to something that you give it a name. So this was my understanding how these experiments were done. I mean, with feelings that are just, you know, feelings given a name, and then emotions being triggered by a stimulus with bypassing this meaning giving. So that's what I understood. The differentiation between emotion is something that captures you. In psychology, there is also said that it is a kidnapping of the amygdala. So you are being kidnapped by the amygdala and you react. So this is because you had an emotion, be it negative or positive, but you did not think. You went straight to the action. For example, my codependents, they are being picked by their husbands and then they react. They did not plan the consequences. They did not think. Or they take a knife and there's one who stabbed herself, for example, being desperate. And then she said she was not present. She doesn't remember from her getting up from the sofa. She just remembers saying, oh, you make me want to kill myself, and things like that, which she usually repeated. So, but not going to the action. But this day she went to the action. She went to the kitchen. Somehow she doesn't remember, taken by the emotion, did not think about the consequences. And in the next moment, she was, you know, pouring blood out of her belly. So this for me is an emotional reaction. Usually emotion is reaction, and a thought is a planning, is foreseeing consequences, is thinking. And then the feeling, when you give it a name, when it is not this navel and heart chakra cognizing, all the other chakras don't have this intelligence and they cannot give a name to what they are feeling. For example, fear. You feel your sphincters, right? So when you are in fear, your legs tremble and things like that. So this you identify because you have a memory of other situations when you felt the same thing. So for me, this is what makes me feel mixed up.
I understand, because Cecilia, even I took some more time to, you know, get rid of, not getting rid of, but to get my, you know, head around my existing concepts of emotions, which I learned in neuroscience.
Mm-hmm.
Because in neuroscience, uh, there is no, in my knowledge, so much clarity when it comes to, keeping the differences between feelings and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of the discussions in neuroscience, they are about emotions, emotions, emotions everywhere. Less of feelings being discussed. And even the one of the mainstream views of neuroscience when it comes to emotions is all about your body's physiology,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, change in the physiology along with the changes in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So if my amygdala is active, and along with that, there are releases of noradrenaline and corticosteroids in my body, and
Mm-hmm.
this whole physiological state, most of the neuroscience discussions, they call this whole state as an
Mm-hmm.
emotional state, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So it took me a long time to disengage from this understanding of mine and build a new understanding where we acknowledge the presence of pure feelings in the beginning, and they are the movements of liturgical fields, and the cognition with feelings is in the form of like or dislike, because some feelings they feel good to me so I like, some
Mm-hmm.
feelings they are not good to me so I don't like.
Uh-huh.
So the only level of cognition we can have at the level of feelings is like and dislike. But whenever we say that, oh, this is a good feeling, it looks like love, or this is a happy feeling, or this person appears so good to me, all these things, when we start giving meanings
Uh-huh.
to our experience of feelings,
Uh-huh.
then the mind is coming in the picture.
And then you
then we
call it, and then you
then we
call it,
call it
yeah,
then we call it emotions, as I
still
understand
emotions.
in this way. Yeah, of course. See, we can have survival emotions and we
Ah,
can
okay.
have higher emotions.
Right. Right.
So when we
So
say
what
the when we say
neuroscience calls feelings is what Amit calls emotions, right?
no, 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 Dr. Goswami is very clear uh, when it comes to feelings, that we all understand. It's very easy. They are moments of liturgical field.
Yes, yes, but this
Uh,
is what neuroscience
and
does not acknowledge. This is what
because
neuro,
neuroscience does not
yeah,
acknowledge even the
yeah,
vital
yeah,
world.
yeah, sure. So what we will find in regular neuroscience, when they differentiate emotions, which I explain now, which is a pure reaction, a biochemistry going into motion,
Yes, and the
from
limbic system active.
yes, from this is what Amit calls, in fact, something that was already given a meaning. Either it is a software, a survival thing, right? Which
Mhm,
is already, we are discussing whether the memory is already in the amygdala, or
mhm.
else it is a higher emotion, but not a higher feeling, right? Yeah, this
When
is
there is brain in the picture, then we talk about emotions.
right. Either
That's
the
why we
amygdala
say,
brain or the neocortex brain.
yes, that's why we say that we need to balance our negative emotional brain circuits with
Right.
positive emotional brain circuits.
Right.
So we
I'm
can have
getting.
positive emotions also.
I'm getting. Right. So yeah, I was really only considering the emotions from the regular neuroscience point of view, which is these reactions of fight or flight, or reactions of being attacked. So I counterattack. So like I said, my codependent women do, and even self-attack. So I was understanding emotions as being taken by the emotion, not reflecting upon. So Dr. Goswami does not consider it this way. I see. I understand. Now I understand. Okay. So that's why higher emotions involve also thoughts, right? Meaning giving
Yes, when
through,
we say
got it,
emotions,
got it,
they
got it.
have thoughts.
Right. The higher ones. The
Because
automatic ones, they have just the feelings. The survival ones.
yes, as of now. But say if we develop positive emotional brain circuits,
Yeah.
then we may have automatic positive thoughts along with positive higher feelings.
Right. Right.
Because when we say
Very good.
circuits, we very clearly mean that some of the things once started and then everything is being passed through a network of objects, network of neurons and the body parts, and so that's why it's a circuit. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but evolutionarily, we have negative emotional brain circuits given to us since birth, and a few positive emotional brain circuits, as Dr. Goswami talks about, maternal, love circuits, and in few maybe question mark query, quote unquote, altruistic brain circuits in some people. He also talks about that. But the circuits mean that once there is a stimulus, things will happen.
Wait, repeat this one.
That's why it's a, see, when we say circuits.
Circuits. Yeah. Something will trigger and the whole thing will
go.
Catch fire. I got it.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So yes, I have to deconstruct my neuroscience concepts, regular neuroscience concepts, and understand emotions like negative, positive, negative ones without neocortex, but just rather amygdala memory and triggering and all these things. The circuits are there also, right? They catch fire in the amygdala and they bypass the neocortex. And then the positive ones, which we are like training now, we are putting ourselves with this purpose of even of thinking before the negative ones come into play. Is this necessary? Because sometimes one fear that we had may not apply to another situation, so we can rethink it and, so yeah.
Yes.
Good.
So
okay.
the only thing which I have difficulty with, or I'm not very sure of, which I think we should discuss more with Dr. Goswami, is the whether in negative emotional brain circuits we are proposing the involvement of neocortex or just the self at the midbrain.
At the midbrain. Okay, good. Right, Sudeep. I'm so thankful to you. You clarified everything now. Good. Yes. Yes, he says here on page 36, yes, we experience a negative emotion. Here, motor action. A suitable stimulus, a cobra ready to strike, is processed by the hindbrain, then relayed by the brain area called thalamus directly to the amygdala, where it elicits the instinctual memory. You see here, memory.
Yes.
Where in the amygdala, there is the memory of feelings, theorized as unconscious memory, which comes from, from birth. So it comes with us as the embedded software.
It's a hardwired,
Yeah, it is an embedded software. which calls for fast motor action, the flight or fight response. The pathway bypasses the neocortex. Okay, only later the visual cortex itself, I mean the neocortex self, mind and thought come into play, giving meaning to the instinctual feeling. Here come the instincts. And we experience a negative emotion of like and dislike. Here we dislike because we get all aroused and
no, here I mean here he is making it clear that the neocortex is involved later on, and
yes,
so we are giving meanings to what happened in
afterwards.
That amygdala circuit, what happened. Then immediately afterward, we give meanings to neocortex.
So this is also the answer to your question. The amygdala has the memory, the instinctual memory.
Yeah, instinctual memory does have, but are we saying that the meanings are happening at amygdala? I guess no.
Yeah. The essential
when we say
problem,
the self at the midbrain, are we saying that the meanings are happening at midbrain? I guess
now
no.
let's see the next paragraph. It is almost at the end here. The essential problem here is this: whereas brain memory we make consciously is software we can control. Now, the memory of the amygdala we cannot control. So that's when I say that we are kidnapped by the amygdala. And this is what I used to call emotion. Okay, so now I have to rephrase, at least in the quantum science field. The distinction is this: the memory we control is easy to overwrite, but memory we don't control is not. In this way, the conventional wisdom, which is you cannot control or get rid of your instinctual negative emotions. They are virtually part of your nature. The new science is able to explain not only how instinctual software is made, but also what evolutionary mechanism produces software that becomes autonomous out of our control. Understanding this, we are also able to theorize how to gain back such control. And the idea is to become, to have automatic positive emotions that we don't even need to think. We train them for so long that it becomes our first nature, not even our second, but our first nature. Yeah. Understanding the oneness and stopping to point the finger to others, we become responsible for our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and everything. So this is one thing. Stopping to blame others, I understand, right? This is something that's automatic. Something goes wrong, people usually try to find the guilty one. So this is, for example, for me, a way of deconstructing negative emotion, because as soon as I become responsible for what I'm experiencing, so then the negative emotion of blaming someone will stop. And then understanding that we are all one in the unconscious, there is no one there to blame. We are one mind. We are one at the level of the unconscious mind. So then the Course in Miracles says that the best way to forgive yourself is starting with your brother. When you forgive is taking out the weight of the negative in your brother. For example, you just don't give it such an importance within you if someone did something wrong to you, right? Because we are all one, so it is your experience. So how did you entail in this experience? So kind of. So this is the way I am doing to stop my negative emotions, is stop criticizing the other, because then the unconscious mind will translate back to me that I don't need to criticize myself either. So because, this is a mechanism that will make me change in this way. So this is my way of undoing this immediate response, you know, criticizing, judging, or blaming. So for me, this is a good point to start, to stop with this automatic negativity.
Yes, because some level of automatic negative response, they are going to persist,
Yes,
because those which are required for our survival, they need to persist.
sure, they are
uh,
protective.
they are protective.
Hmm.
But as he said in that paragraph, that the personal software which we develop, we somehow unknowingly, during our early social and family experiences, we somehow associate uh, negative meanings to many incidences and events. And
Hmm.
so the similar stimuli, they tend to trigger in us those negative emotional brain circuits, because they are
Yes,
associated,
they. Uh-huh.
so we need to disconnect from that association, and instead give new meanings to those stimuli, so that the similar stimuli in future do not produce negative response, and on the contrary, the response becomes neutral and then positive, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Very good. Very good. So I think we did it with these
Yeah.
questions, and well, you can start emailing with Amit and see if you still have this question about the memory. I understood there is
um,
a memory.
I think I have one question about, and I will try you know extending the thread, is to ask about, does are we claiming that midbrain has the capacity of representing meanings?
Ah, great. Yes, good.
That's
Uh-huh.
that's that's
And
the
then you shared
straightforward question.
right. Then you shared this email with me also.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Good. All
Okay.
right. Yes, very okay.
Bye
Very
bye.
okay.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Thank you too.
Bye bye.
Bye, Sudeep.
Bye, Cecilia.